Okay, first of all, the Chungking Express has a lot of cultural differences in many ways. So today, me and my friends will exchange our opinions from different scenes in the films. And let's start.
Well, let's start from the first scene. I think it reflects the immigration from India to Hong Kong. As you can see from this page, it looks like a visual India. This point means that Indians don't adjust their living condition to absorb that local culture, but they try to turn Hong Kong into Indian or be their own home.
Right? However, from this scene, I think that it represents difference in Darling, and it can be noticed that the story begins with a brighter visions presentation, which is a common place in Hong Kong where Chinese people live, and then gradually follows the character to Indian homes, which is a place in a narrow alley. The environment is not as good as the outside, crowded, darker, and more uncomfortable than the outside. And it reflects the disparity of Indians as immigrants in Hong Kong society.
Mm. I see British empowerment with Indian from the scene in the room where the golden haired woman represents European as we know from her dress, the currency and the English language that she communicated with the Indian worker. So I think Indians can refer to the invasion of India by the British rule exercise their right to rule all order, which reveals to our historical points as Indians invasion during the colonial era and another scene. I think women use US dollars to indicate India's surrender or other perspective because of the money power, but it may be the Wongarai also inserts feeling of invasion.
In my opinion, however, the scene does not just present an aspect of Indian harassment, but perhaps it shows the power of the British monarchy that prevailed over Hong Kong in the 19th century. Like golden hair women had the freedom to engage in illegal activities, and she also carried weapons in her possession to kill people as she wishes.
Okay, in my perspective, I think is has points of encouragement that Indians also forced cultural influence on the other by attempting to change the Indians' attire to make them appear more dignified of wealthy to change credibility with the Britishers. Yes, yeah.
In a different way, it may be similar to Hong Kong's unequal class, which seem to hide the group through standing to appear more social when going outside.
And I see what my friend says before about the British empowerment, and so you can see in the bar scene that all items, all attires, and the music and the bar owner is influenced by the Europe, and a golden-haired woman takes off her wig um, and wear long coats and speak English language and she smoke cigarettes and she wear fashionable glasses and the decoration style of the shop it like the design of Western culture and everything in the shop is English, including modern audio equipment, and it shows the influence of British culture that encompasses Hong Kong. Yeah.
That's right. In my point, I think that the Chungking Express also describe a variety of features of India culture and behavior, such as the cultural adherence without changing, according to living conditions, as seen at the moment where they are eating and they don't use Western silverware or Chinese chopsticks. Although she lived in Hong Kong, but they consume rice with their hands as East Indians' traditional culture.
Mm, that's right. In their personality or demeanor is frequently displayed as it shows the stereotype of Indians as when general people think about Indians, they frequently think of the same image as the flame portrait. I saw the Indians still stealing water in the market as an example of a stereotype that Indians are a group of people who engage in bad and dirty behavior, which causes them to be a lower class people.
But if you see from this point of view, you will understand these actions may be due to limit living space and the constraint of social conditions leading to them to live illegally or steal small things for survival.
And I think that there is a culture conflict in the communication of different languages, which can be seen as a miscommunication between Indians and golden haired women, since each party speaks in their own language. Women speak English while the men still strive to converse in Indian languages to show that both sides are unable to understand each other.
Okay, you can see from the scene where the couple 223 live in a small flat, show that China's economic growth is unequal, obviously leading to the problems of the middle and the lower classes. The rich get better, the poor get worse. The rich tend to live in the high rise building with a private space, while those stars that dwell in the smaller places for sleeping and living. As shown in this picture, there are complex facilities because Hong Kong had a limited space because of the large population. Yes.
Mm. Yes, I think Mr. Wong also depicts the lives of Hong Kong residents, where it is clear that everyone is always working against the clock. It's like living as a robot who receive input while using a time accelerating mechanism. People will focus entirely on their own business and are continually idling in the midst of commotion, confusion, and the congestion of so many people, as seen in the first scene of the story.
Well, I want to point out in the case of Alfred, she worked a lot to collect money in order to move a better pace, leading her to get better education that it reflects Hong Kong people in 19th century social, trying to get themselves out of trouble in political, economy, Hong Kong conflict, social turmoil, or social inequality. All of these problems lead Hong Kong people to be more inclined to immigrate abroad.
Um, yeah, and that's all our opinion that reflect the class cultural in a way of cultural diversity between Indian, Hong Kong, and European, at the point of the social stratification in Hong Kong. And if you have a different perspective, you can share your thoughts with us. And thank you for your attention.